Salud. Raw 2/19/24. 6 weeks, just over 6 weeks from WrestleMania. And they have Cody Rhodes flat on his back looking up at the lights with a big Monday Night Raw loss. Not exactly how I would book this. However, there was something I did like in that loss. We'll talk all about it in today's Raw review. Also, Nia Jax completely annihilates every female in the Elimination Chamber last night. Way to bump up the Elimination Chamber and every female that's supposed to look really badass going into the chamber. Way to book them being annihilated by one human being, Nia Jax. Again, not how I would book this. Unlike the Cody Rhodes Drew McIntyre match, though, there's not one good thing I can pick apart from this women's segment with Nia Jax. We gotta talk about it. Chad Gable, yet again, showed you last night why from day one he should have had a mega push and the rocket strapped to his back. Chad Gable, with probably the performance of the night. And this was in a match with Ivar, who, by the way, does things at 695,000 pounds that most cruiserweights could only hope to do. But Chad Gable, we gotta talk about it in this review. We're also going to talk Gunther retaining against Jey Uso. And it's what happened after the match. Actually, during the finish and then after. WWE actually did something rare. Something that shocked the pro wrestling world. We're going to talk all about it in this review. And a lot of other... Hour number 2. If you saw hour 2, wait till you hear the filler that was in this show. We got to discuss it. We got to have a little bit of fun with it. That was a strange hour 2. And I think I know why they did it. We'll explain. We got a lot to talk about. So we're going to get right into it. Big swig of coffee from the fine folks at Dunkin' Donuts. And then we're going to talk Raw 2/19/24. As it stands right now, 46 days away from WrestleMania and just 4 days away from the Elimination Chamber. Let's do this. Salute. Now, coffee gets the stage. Coffee gets the platform. You know the rules. Coffee has to take center stage. A big thanks, man. Before we start this review, big shout out to everybody that caught the live stream right before Raw went live last night, right here on the channel on 25 minutes of notice. BC put up a live stream and hundreds were live throughout the hour and a half we were live. Thousands have caught it since. I appreciate that big time. Again, 25 minutes of notice. And it was such a fun stream. BC was on his 16th coffee from the jump. You guys were amplified out of the gates. Super chats chucked to the channel left and right. Membership milestones through the roof. Just a lot of fun, man. It took a half an hour just to get to our first story last night in that live stream. So big shout out to everybody that made that special, man. Stegmeister dropping a banger bomb out of nowhere, by the way. Clint Green. Clint, I appreciate the super thanks afterwards in the regular comment section as well, man. A super thanks. So more coffee was chucked at the channel even after we were live. Never needed, always appreciated, but it just shows you, man, even on 25 minutes notice, my amplified unit, we're ready to rock. Appreciate that. Big time. A lot of fun. Speaking of a programming note, being live this Saturday morning or late for you guys, I don't know what time. It's Elimination Chamber. All right, if you saw Raw last night, it's never a good thing when WWE has to show a graphic of when the event is going to be on, and there's about 25 different times. They showed a graphic. I only thought there was only a select amount of time zones. It looked like they had about 47 different times. If you're in this area, if you're over here, if you're in the middle of the ocean, you're going to be catching it at 3:30 a.m. What are we doing? So odd. But for BC, I believe it's 5 a.m. that this thing goes live on Saturday morning, the Elimination Chamber. I do hope to be live, even though it's 5 a.m. with a couple 2-3 coffees out of the gate. I hope to be live with the good, the bad, and the ugly review. So I really do hope that if you guys are up catching the event, go up on your cell phone or whatever and stop by the channel, say what's up. Because BC will more than likely be live catching the event and doing the live good, the bad, and the ugly. So at the very least, stop by after every match, see where we're putting the tallies, what column. Was the match good? Was it bad or was it ugly? And listen to BC rant a little bit. I think that's a fun Saturday morning. So yeah, stop by the channel, say what's up. We'd love to have you even as early as 5 o'clock a.m. because that's what it's looking like. All right, for the Raw review, let's get right into it. There was a moment, guys. I'm not even joking. I think most of this was in the second hour where this show literally turned into the circus. You had a UFC fighter front row, the camera's on him, he grabs the microphone, Chandler, I believe is his name, and he grabs the microphone and he's challenging Conor McGregor, not to a WrestleMania match or anything, no, to the octagon. They're just blurring the lines of UFC and WWE. So Chandler is screaming out, I want Conor McGregor! And his Chandler guy, he fits right into today's pro wrestler, right? He definitely fits in with the rest of the wrestlers today. He's barely 5'8" and 156 pounds. You'd walk right by him in the grocery store. He'd fit right in, bruh. But you had the UFC guy calling out more UFC dudes. You had a pro boxer. Never seen or heard of the dude. Good for him if he's good at what he does. But you had a pro boxer a few minutes afterwards, and he's front row. And he's getting all this camera time. I'm like, who is this dude? Then you had a rodeo professional. Is that a thing? Like a rodeo guy. Like I believe the dude that chases the bull until he pisses the bull off and then the bull chases him. But you had a rodeo dude. Front row, camera on him. They're like, there's Chuck Chuckleson, the rodeo 2023 champion. Looks to be the 2024 champion later this year. I don't even know. The rodeo guy is like flexing. All we were missing was Ronald McDonald and a 3-legged stripper, and we'd have the completion of a circus. Like, I don't know who else is going to... Then a couple minutes later, they're showing the Netflix nerd herd. All the Netflix executives were seated behind Michael Cole and Pat McAfee. There was like 10 executives. They were seated right behind Cole and McAfee. And there was a moment where they got airtime. And they're all standing up and they're all geeking out because they're they're Netflix execs. You know what I mean? It's the Netflix nerd herd. I call the Judgment Day the goof troop with the shenanigans with R-Truth. But if there was another goof troop, it would be the Netflix execs. They're all like geeking out. Yeah, you can tell they never get out to anything, right? So good for them. But you can also tell they were the wallflowers at prom, or most of them didn't even make prom. You could tell that most of them maybe got swirlies in high school. Probably not part of the cool clique. One of the girl in the middle, she's holding out her drink to show everybody she's having a night out. We all know that person, right? I got a drink. It's 3/4 full still, the exact way that the bartender put it. Or the dude at the concessions, right? They only filled it 3/4. She took 16 mini sips. That equals the amount of the mouthwash you put in the morning. And she's holding it out. Yeah, I'm here. Hey, Hank, I'm on TV. And then it was hilarious. A segment later, you see them all geeking out on their phones, right? And they're all like, look, I was on TV. Hank texted me. He said, I saw you, Sally. I saw you with your drink. You're having such a night out. You night owl. You're such a rager. You're a partier, Sally. Hank, you have no idea. I'm going to finish all of this tonight. Oh, come on. You're telling me that didn't get a little wild? I mean, where's the real celebs? You're in Anaheim. Not LA, but Anaheim. What is that? About an hour distance away? Hour 15 maybe? I mean, when we're putting the Netflix execs and the rodeo champion on our TV, you literally are just missing Ronald McDonald and the three-legged strippers at that point. Make it a complete circus. You're already 3/4 of the way there, like Sally's beverage. All right, that's a little bit of fun to kick us off, man. Let's get into this review. Drew McIntyre defeats Cody Rhodes at the start of this show. This is via pinfall. The assist goes to Jey Uso in a Sikoa that is solo. That was the big assist. Now, on one hand, Cody loses a Raw match just over 6 weeks away from Mania, when he's going to main event for the World Championship, the Heavyweight Championship, the Universal Championship, whatever you want to call it. Just over 6 weeks away, Cody Rhodes is flat on his back looking up at the lights. Probably not how BC would book this. On one hand, it is absolutely absurd and stupid to the highest of levels. On the other hand, all right, BC will say this, what I didn't mind about this. What I didn't mind about this is that they just recreated 39, right? Solo pops up at the end of this match, delivers the spike, and that sets up the massive assist for Drew to pick up the W. They just recreated 39, and they recreated many of how Roman won his matches, right? Solo in that damn spike. So it's the ultimate tease and troll job, right? Where they're like, well, this will keep happening, and it could happen at Mania. Could be the same result as last year, right? They want to plant those seeds. And, of course, it continues the setup to this stupid tag team match, Cody and Seth versus Rock and Roman. I really wish they would just get this out of the way at like a Raw and Smack. It's a tag team match. It's nonsensical. And yet this feels like it has more time is being spent on this meaningless tag team match than Cody versus Roman. There's no story there other than finish his story, right? Roman and Cody are not really crossing paths unless Seth and Rock are in the room. But they're really not doing anything with one another. The last time they were in the ring, Cody's like, I will not take you on at WrestleMania. And then, of course, we know how that panned out. Completely changed his mind, no explanation. We all know the story, right? We just want this damn thing finished one way or the other at this point. We're all tired of the story. But the problem is there is no real story outside of that with Roman and Cody. And all the advertisements, all the promos, all you're seeing is The Rock and Roman walking up to Seth and Cody. You know, you're doing all the advertisements, and then all of a sudden you're trying to play the storyline of can Cody trust Seth? Will Cody accept Seth's invitation? But you already did all the advertisements. We already see the commercials, so it's ass backwards. You know what I mean? Back in the day when Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage got together to form the Mega Powers, you wouldn't see the promotional ads first, and then Hogan and Savage got together. It's very odd. But if to get to this Seth and Cody relationship, you know, this is another way for Cody to be outdone by the numbers. And then backstage when he's in the medical room, Seth walks up, doesn't say a word. Cody just gives him a nod like, I know, I'm going to need your help. And then Seth just taps him on the knee 3 times like just a concerned parent. And then he walks away. No words needed. So listen, I don't need to see this tag match, but I call these reviews right down the middle, right? If they want something, as long as they do it correctly, I'm going to review it as such. I put my personal feelings and opinions to the side. I don't like this tag team match at all. But that's the way you would go about it, right? Recreate 39, plant the seeds that's going to keep on happening if Cody doesn't get some type of help. And And then Seth walking up to him afterwards, not saying a word, and Cody's like, I know. It was well done if they're trying to get to this stupid tag match. But for anybody that is baffled as to why a lot of us are not on board with the tag match, guys, think about it. Whether you wanted The Rock or Roman or not, you know by now, there's a lot of us that wanted to see Rock and Roman. And this is what we're getting instead. I don't mind Cody and Roman, right? If Rock didn't show up, or even if he did, there was a big chance that Cody was taking on Roman. I don't care about that. And by the way, lost in all this is I'm an actual Cody supporter anyway. That's another story. Forget Cody and Roman. I'm talking about Rock and Roman. You could have easily done both nights. Rock and Roman, night one, no title on the line, just the family dynamic. And then the next night, Cody versus Roman for the title. Roman's pulling double duty anyway. The tag match on night one, and then Roman's doing the singles match on night two. He's doing double duty anyway. You could have just done both matches. But instead of doing Rock and Roman, we're getting a tag team match against Cody and Seth. You don't see how, like, that's a bum-ass consolation prize? I mean, if you don't see why, for many of us, this tag match is completely meaningless and nonsensical, I don't have the patience or the coloring crayons to explain it to you. It just does nothing for a lot of us. Doesn't. Seeing Cody and Seth in a tag team. The Rock has not wrestled in over 12 years. He comes back for a tag match? Doesn't do anything for us, man. But I understand it can set up something, right, where Cody and Seth are both big losers on night one. And it plants the seed like this could happen tomorrow night on night two, right? Cody will be flat on his back looking up at the lights again. It could happen. And then The Rock cost Roman the match and maybe the title if they make the decision not to have Roman take Hulk Hogan's record. There's a lot of question marks. The tag match doesn't do anything. This whole first match was just to kind of lead into that more, right? The dynamic between Cody and Seth. And then this Saturday morning, 5 a.m. on the Grayson Waller effect, Seth and Cody are going to be in a segment, a talk show segment with Grayson, where maybe they'll issue the challenge. You know what I mean? And that'll be the headline. Because it's only 6 weeks away from this Saturday, WrestleMania. So that's probably where you're going to get the challenge issued. And then the next time Roman and Rock are together, they'll do the exception, and then we're off. And I don't know where this leaves Seth in that championship. Right? Because if he's not going to be in the main event of either night, Seth and that title is going to look more irrelevant than ever before. That was the whole first 40 minutes of this show, by the way. Cody, Drew, and then the aftermath back in the medical room. Cody pissed off because Solo got him again. For once, Cody was not smiling, right? Maybe we need more Solo spikes to Cody Rhodes. Wipe the grin off your face. This is real business, man. You're going back into a match with Roman for the championship. Hour one then ends. That's right. We're already at the end of hour because that was 40 minutes, that whole Cody Drew Seth backstage thing. So then we go to the end of hour one and we begin hour two with the women's last chance battle royal. The winner gets the final spot inside the ladies' elimination chamber for a chance at Rhea Ripley's title at WrestleMania. Raquel Rodriguez wins this match. The final three eliminations were actually from Rodriguez, Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, and Chelsea Green. At one point, it looked like Raquel won the match already. She took out Baszler and Zoe, and then Chelsea came out of nowhere to plant the seed, like, oh my God, Chelsea's going to eliminate her last second, you know, and all of a sudden Raquel's like, what are you doing? Like wiping a fly away, takes out Chelsea, and then Raquel actually wins the match. This is good for Raquel. She's had a rough several months, so much love to Raquel. Hopefully she's on the mend, but I do have to question, of all the females on that roster, Raquel gets the golden ticket to the chamber? Like, this was the time to reset somebody like Baszler, right? Especially with, I mean, there's no better time than the Elimination Chamber, which is Saturday. We all remember just a few years ago what Baszler did inside that structure. This would be the time, right? If HHH was really going to devote time to Shayna, this was her reset. And instead, he was just like, nah, we're going to go Raquel. The same thing that Vincent Kennedy tried doing, and it failed miserably. Raquel last night. I don't know where this is going, and I can't really gauge because the crowd was just having the time of their life last night. Good for them. You would have thought this was one of the best Raws of all time, and trust me, guys, whether you liked it or not, that's fine. There were some good points. There was some really just bad segments, but this was not one of the best Raws you will ever see. Trust me. But the crowd in Anaheim, they were all stars, bro. They were the MVPs. The pops that people like Truth were getting, Raquel. Raquel, you would have thought it was Trish in her heyday. So I can't really gauge because Anaheim was just rocking the entire night. But I don't know if there's going to be that connection, man. Raquel has a lot of work to do character-wise. She's got to stop the whole smiling thing. We already have Cody Rhodes for that. Finally, we stopped Finn Balor from doing that a year and a half ago. But the smiling thing, it didn't work for Rocky Maivia. It's one of the biggest things that we try to... We just wish would sway a little bit. Cody Rhodes would just pull away a little bit from the smiling. Raquel Rodriguez... I don't understand just the nonstop smiling. You're wrestling or you're staring at 3 or 4 people that are about to take you on. You're not smiling, man. Let's get the game face on. So it's going to take a lot is what I'm saying, but Raquel continues to be pushed past everybody else on that roster. This is not the first time. They've already given her tag titles with Liv Morgan. They've given her big singles opportunities, pay-per-view, premium live event matches and spots. I don't know what it is, but VKM and HHH, they really are trying to... Raquel Rodriguez, I don't know if they look at her like a secondary Rhea Ripley, maybe. But it's gonna take a minute for that connection, and it's gonna start with Raquel Rodriguez. She's gonna have to find what that connection is. But either way, they gave her the golden ticket, and Raquel's in the Elimination Chamber. Hour 2. That's right. We're already into hour 2 at this point. It was just those 2 matches in hour 1. Cody defeated by Drew, and Raquel wins a battle royal. Hour number 2, Rhea Ripley and Nia Jax are in a backstage cut screen back and forth promo. So what that is basically Michael Cole is like asking questions and you see a split screen. Usually it's like via satellite, like these 2 wrestlers are in different areas. They're just backstage. They're just trying to keep them apart. So you have a split screen and it's like a sit down interview, but Cole's at the commentary table. And what do I say to this? We're dedicating all of this time to Nia Jax, right? She was fired for a reason, for many reasons. They bring her back out of everybody, not a Mickie James. They don't try to work something out with Gail Kim. And she's doing great work with TNA, but they never even attempted to because Gail Kim burned them in that battle royal when she just took off. But Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné, they can't come to an agreement on financial, but they'll bring back Nia Jax, who honestly is as useful as a chocolate teapot. It doesn't work. And this segment was about as fun as a spelling bee with R-Truth. Actually, that would be fun. A spelling bee with R-Truth. Then you'd get your giggle on. That would be pretty funny, actually. This was not. This was... I don't know what this was. You just have Nia Jax making her mean face. I'm gonna sit on you. And Rhea is like, I don't know what's gonna... she's... They wanted you to see that vulnerable side of Rhea, right? That wasn't mommy. That was like more of what a face would do. And we know she's getting cheered. We know she's going to be the face in this. We know she's going to the homeland. So she's going to be the face. So let's lighten her up a little bit, right? Let's ease her up. Let's show her vulnerable side. Show a little bit of weakness in her. I don't know about that, Rhea Ripley, bro. It was just, I don't know. This is their big... There's only 4 matches announced for Elimination Chamber. One of them is Nia Jax and Rhea Ripley. And this, on a 3-hour show, this is how they decided to build it. Then we went to R-Truth outside the arena with Jackie Redmond explaining how Judgment Day has hurt his feelings. I like R-Truth, as many of us do. Anaheim. Completely. It looks like they bought a ticket to see R-Truth, Anaheim, last night. But, man, I don't know. This R-Truth Judgment Day thing, to say it got stale is an understatement. It doesn't look like they know what they're doing with it. I don't believe they have an end game. They had something that got laughs, and whenever this happens, VKM used to always do it, HHH does it. If you get some laughs, right, they will run it into the ground. They don't know when to throw it a preserver, right? They don't know when to just stop while you're ahead, right? They just run it into the ground. And I think we've reached a point where I just don't know what they're doing with it, and I don't think they know what they're doing with it. But R-Truth is at least... If you got a giggle out of it, if you got a laugh out of it, I guess that's all that matters. And then we went into the UFC fighter, Michael Chandler, in the front row, calling out Conor McGregor for the fight in the octagon. As I said, Chandler fits right in with today's pro wrestler, about 5'8", $156. You'd walk right by him on Fifth Avenue. Wouldn't take a second glance. Pretty much fits today's description, right? Right in there with little Tozawa, little John Gargano, little Dan Garcia. These little dudes. Little Tyler Bate if he has a little baseball hat on, or a P.D. Dunn, right? You put them all together, the little Oompa Loompas from the Wizard of Oz. We represent the Lollipompkins, the Lollipompkins. Oh, right, they could form a faction called the Micro Machines. Having some fun. Relax. Chandler. This guy's front row calling out people, man. Dude's barely 5'8". Too funny, man. Too funny. And then we had the boxer. All right, they're showing a box. He's a professional boxer, fucking Chuck Chuckleson. And then there's a rodeo clown or a rodeo performer. Rodeo champion? I don't know. A dude from the rodeo. You were just missing Ronald McDonald and the three-legged stripper, and you had a complete circus. Wild. And then you see the Netflix nerd herd behind Michael Cole, all the executives. It's their one night out. They're raging, right? One person actually has a beverage. Oh, she's getting rowdy. That's Sally. A segment later, they're all on their phones. Oh my God, we were on TV. That was all, literally, guys, that was all second hour, a lot of filler stuff. Now, I will say this, all right? I have a compliment coming here. I have a little bit of positivity in this cloud of shit. Ready? This is what I will say about all of those segments. You see, that shows that at least they were willing to get away from the ring for a moment, right? They knew that whole first hour, that was just complete action in the ring, right? You had half an hour plus of Cody and Drew. And then you went into the women's battle royal, which took up another 20 some odd minutes. So they just went away with a lot of filler stuff. And I like that. That's what you need on a show, especially if it's going to be 3 hours. Get away from the ring. Stop this mentality and this formula of match, promo, match, promo, match. Good night, everybody. Get away. Start doing these filler type things. You know, if R-Truth is outside talking to Jackie Redmond, at least he's outside. Good. If you want to show a rodeo clown, cool. Do what you got to do. Netflix is there. Cool. Get away. Let's talk about that for a second. I wish it was more fun, intriguing type filler. Because it shouldn't be just filler. It should be setting up good stories, right? Part of good storylines for characters, for these wrestlers. Don't look at it as filler. Look at it as this is the foundation, the seeds being planted to these feuds. This is valuable time. And instead, they're just showing rodeo clowns and Netflix execs, I can speak. UFC fighters are calling out other UFC fighters for the octagon, not for pro wrestling. They're showing boxers, the pickleball champions were probably in attendance. Maybe they showed them why BC was getting another coffee, right? Maybe the battleship champion of 2023 was live in attendance. Who knows? But, you can spend your time more valuable than that. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm glad they dedicated the time away from the ring and to do all this other stuff. Now I just hope going forward they tweak it, right? To stuff that makes sense, stuff that is valuable, stuff that is not filler, but seeds planted for feuds, character development, right? I remember I bring it up a lot. I'm not a big gamer person, but back in the day, there was Raw versus SmackDown. I think it was like the early 2000s, maybe 2003, 4, 5, something like that. And you could be a general manager, right? And you were taking on the other brand. So I was always pretty much Raw. I was always taking on SmackDown. And you get to program your show, right? And a lot of during the show, you get to put in what you would like as the filler, right? You could put in commercial breaks and you would get more revenue for your product, more revenue for your show by putting in a commercial break. You could do character development. So in other words, like a promo for a character, right? And you're not making money, you're not putting an ad in, but you are developing a character further. You could put in like a promotional ad for your upcoming pay-per-view, right? You could do that, and that would absolutely like bring up your rating for the pay-per-view, like how intriguing it is by promoting your pay-per-view. So there was all these little things, and I used to love that part of being the general manager on that video game because I would literally just make sure that everything I was doing had purpose, right? And that's what I hope this show does. That is a start. I hope they do more of those type of things. Stop with the wrestling for a minute. You're a 3-hour show, man. You don't have to constantly have a match going on or some dumbass promo in the middle of the ring. Don't be afraid to take it elsewhere. Give everybody a breather. Let the crowd go get a beverage. Go take a piss. Pick up a bad habit. Maybe smoke something. Who knows? But let the crowd have a moment to relax. And for us, it's a television show, whether, wrestling or not. It's a 3-hour entertainment television show. You got to entertain us, man. So I like the fact that they had all of this other things going on aside from the wrestling. I just wish it had purpose and it meant something. It was for something. With WrestleMania 46 days away and Chamber this Saturday, none of that had anything to do with either. Anyway, guys, I had to spend some time on that because that was a bulk of that second hour. In fact, there was it one match? Yeah, there was only one real match in the second hour, guys. It was the 8-man schmaz. Judgment Day defeating DIY, Miz, and R-Truth. Priest pins Truth via South of Heaven. And it was pretty hilarious because the crowd was really behind Truth. So the deflating pinfall was actually funny, man. Again, much props, much respect to Anaheim. They brought it last night. But it was hilarious. They were so behind Truth, and Truth is the one to eat the pin. It was pretty funny. They just went like silent afterwards. Not much to say about that. That's a schmaz. I'm not a big fan of schmaz matches. You had a lot of ping pong ball action, not a lot of selling, which today's wrestling fan, especially live in attendance, loves, right? The wrestlers are the toy and the audience are the cats, right? Wow, this is awesome. Give it 7 stars and then move on to the next. Hour number 3 begins with Becky Lynch, and then Liv Morgan, Raquel, Naomi, Tiffany, Stratton, the center of the universe, and Bianca Belair all hit the ring for a 6-women promo. Those never go well. This was no different. This was just everybody trying to spit out a line, and then somebody new would come out. Bianca Belair, there is not enough fire in existence to explain how ultra beautiful and sexy Bianca Belair was last night. I mean, those legs went on for miles. Her assets were just absolutely bouncing off the screen. I feel with every step she took, there was a bouncing method that this woman last night, she was, if there's cloud 9, she found a whole nother level. Bianca Belair, there's not much more I can tell you, man. If you didn't see what she was wearing, how sexy she looked, man, you may want to check out Bianca Belair last night. Whoa, did she bring it? And she was tussling in heels, by the way, because these ladies went at it. Tiffany Stratton started it all. She did not want to share the spotlight with anybody. She's the center of the universe, and they were getting too close to that center. She started hauling off. All the ladies just went to battle. And then the crowd, I don't know. I don't know if they were more deflated by R-Truth losing right beforehand or more deflated to see Nia Jax get in the ring. But Nia Jax waddled into the ring, and Nia Jax destroyed every female in the chamber match for this Saturday because they were all in there brawling with each other, and Nia Jax just squashed everybody. Took everybody out. Headbutts, kicks, leg drops, ass splashes, you name it. All 6 of these badass ladies were handled by Nia Jax, waddling around the ring. Nia Jax, guys. All of this is for Nia Jax. Elimination Chamber. Man, you have Naomi in there who just returned. Tiffany Stratton just got to the main roster. You have former champion and badass, one of the most badass females in the industry today, Bianca Belair. You have Raquel Rodriguez. They're trying to, obviously, especially after her victory in the Battle Royal, bump her up pretty quickly. Who else is in this? Did I get everybody? Liv Morgan, who's a legit little spitfire. All of these females were taken out simultaneously by Nia Jax, man, waddling around the ring. No, that is just all for what? To get handled by Rhea or Jade, or maybe both. Rhea at Chamber, Jade Cargill at Mania, I guess. I guess that's what they're going to save Jade Cargill for. Jade Cargill versus Nia Jax. I just, man, to make every single female in your Elimination Chamber match this Saturday, to make them all look so damn weak. One Nia Jax. For years, this company has tried to build Nia Jax like a bear. That's the problem. They didn't build her properly. So you just have this randomness. This hot and cold streaks. Give her 2 inches, take her back a mile, or she takes herself back a mile. But for years, we've seen this type of booking where Nia Jax just squashes the entire roster. The crowd doesn't care at all. She gets fired because the company stops caring. She comes back and we repeat the process. The definition of insanity is Nia Jax waddling around the ring. Oh, man. What a weird way to start hour 3 and not the way that you would promote Elimination Chamber. Chad Gable then defeats Ivar via tap out. This was just another calling card by Chad Gable. How this company, how Paul Levesque McMahon does not understand that he is sitting on top of gold with Chad Gable is unacceptable. It's absolutely downright unacceptable that Chad Gable is mingling around in the mid-card with that type of talent, that type of crowd reaction, that type of response, that connection, that talent that he possesses. And it's natural, dude, that it factor. And he can cut the promos, he can put storylines on his back. This is a match with Ivar, and it takes 2 to tango. Much props to Ivar for doing his thing. The size that dude is hanging with Gable, pretty badass. But Chad Gable last night, man, that German suplex where he just has Ivar in the air for what seems like an entire trip from New York to California, 6+ hours. And it just seemed like Ivar was in the air for that length of time. Then he gets dropped on the dome piece, goes for the pin. Ivar kicks out, but simultaneously, Gable goes right into the ankle lock submission. And then he pulls Ivar, who's a big dude, into the center of the ring so he can't get to the ropes. Referee's got to call for the bell. Ring that shit. Chad Gable wins this match. Crowd pops. Otis jumps in the ring. Maxine, Little Tozawa. Everybody's throwing basically a parade/party for Chad Gable's big victory. Now, I don't know if this ends this little thing they have between Alpha Academy and Ivar. They may keep this going until Ivar's Viking friend and tag team partner comes back and we continue this for another couple of months in tag team action. They could do that. But I know that for this night, in this match, once again, BC was baffled that Chad Gable continues to hang around in the mid-card. I really thought with that whole IC title spat with Gunther, that was going to be the start of something special. It was only another W for Gunther, and then Chad Gable was forgotten about backstage, hanging out at catering with the triple layered moose cake. HHH just doesn't see it in Chad. He gives him these little things, but that's it. Have a piece of the cookie, we can't give you the whole cookie. I don't understand that at all. Chad Gable is too damn good for this type of booking. At some point, guys, they're going to have to give him at least a piece of the rocket. Maybe that scares them. They know if they give him just a piece, he's going to fly further than most do with the full rocket. Main event was Gunther versus Jey Uso for the IC title. Gunther pins Jey Uso to retain his championship. The assist goes to Jimmy Uso. Pretty good here. Jey hits the splash. He's about to pin Gunther. The bell rings before the 3 count. Come to find out, it's Jimmy Uso at the timekeeper area. Pulls back the hoodie, revealing that it is indeed the evil brother of Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso. So Jimmy then gets into the ring post-match, attacks Jey, gives him a couple of flying top rope splashes. And that ends the show with the 1-up as the WrestleMania sign is in the background. Of course, before Raw went live, we did that live stream, and BC pretty much spoiled that to you guys, broke the news that WWE does want to somehow get to Jimmy versus Jey at Mania. Sure enough, hours after I broke that to you guys, that's exactly what they started the process. I mean, that WWE shocked everybody at the end of Raw, right? The entire wrestling world was shocked. WWE planted seeds for WrestleMania finally. We finally have something, a start of a possible third match at Mania. 46 days away, just over 6 weeks, and we only had 2 announced matches. You have to somehow, at least bare minimum, come up with 14 more matches, and you don't even have the seeds planted for most of them. And last night, seeds were planted. Jimmy Jey makes sense. That's WrestleMania. Pretty damn badass. Just over, so we only have a month and a half of build, but at least with those two, their story starts when they were born. So I guess all they need is a month and a half. For the other 13 matches that still need to be not just announced, they need to be organized. Right, those feuds need to be started with 13 other matches, bare minimum, and you only have 6 weeks to go. Less than a month and a half at that point. So yeah, we got to get that rolling, man. Every feud, every story cannot just be a month and a half of build. That's not WrestleMania season. So it was really good to see Jimmy and Jey we ended the night with something that has implications for WrestleMania, right? It affects WrestleMania. That was one of my biggest pet peeves the last several weeks. These shows were ending. Most of these shows completely had nothing to do with WrestleMania or the Elimination Chamber before it. Nothing. Drew McIntyre's just ending the show after beating people like Sami Zayn. Cody just simplistically beats... Not simplistically, it was a bull rope match, but he's just beating Shinsuke, and I'm like, what does that do for anything Mania, man? Where's the stories? Where's the feuds? What are we talking about the next day that makes us go, man, I can't wait till they face each other at Mania. Oh, the Elimination Chamber is going to be nuts. There's no way I'm not getting up at 4:45 a.m. to catch this. Where's that stuff? This was simplistic and not that epic. It was just Jimmy attacking Jey, but at least it sets up a Mania match, and we've been waiting for that. Like we've been waiting for at least one name for the Hall of Fame to be announced. That's in 45 days. HHH, Levesque McMahon, he's got to start getting things in order, man. He has to start acting like a dude that's in charge. No matter what chaos is going on in that company, you got to start. WrestleMania season, you got to start acting like it. All right. The end of this show, man, finally, you were like, oh, WrestleMania. So that's the good part of that, man. Jimmy J, seeds planted for that. Finally, Gunther, as he should have. And by the way, Jey Uso should not have been the dude to beat Gunther anyway. So that's why I say Gunther absolutely is the right call to win this match and retain his championship. Usos easily, hand down. If you follow this channel, you know my fave tag team in the industry today. But there's no way, I'll be the first to admit, Jey Uso should not be the dude to take the title from Gunther. That is absolutely ludicrous. I'm all down for the push singly. That's awesome. You want to give him a piece of that rocket? Sorry, Chad Gable. If they're going Jey Uso, we got to show the dude that love. But not taking the title from Gunther, you can't. That's taking it a little too far. This is the right idea. I wouldn't have minded that match for like Elimination Chamber, Jey and Gunther, not just on Monday Night Raw, but WrestleMania, it just seemed like an odd match. Jimmy J, I think that's a match that intrigues people a lot more. That could steal match-wise. Maybe not story-wise or water cooler-wise the next day, but Jimmy versus Jey could steal the show match-wise as far as skill set, in-ring action. That could be the match. Anyway, guys, that is Raw for 2/19/24. When I say a mixed bag, I mean a mixed bag. What are those shows? Anaheim just made it lively for even at those dull points or those points where you're just like, what are they doing? Like, what am I doing watching what they're doing? But I do have to say, man, Anaheim showed up big, and they gave that show a much needed pulse. Other than that, as far as Elimination Chamber, nothing on this show would make you go, damn, I gotta wake up at 4:45 a.m. to watch the Chamber, or I gotta stay up till 3 a.m., which then you're pulling an all-nighter at that point. If you're staying up till 1, 2, 3, and it's a 3 to 4 hour show, what are you, going to bed at 4 or 5? But nothing on this card, guys. The entire women's Elimination Chamber participants were squashed by Nia Jax. That's it. And then Rhea versus Nia is a match at Chamber, and they just talked in a split screen segment for 2 minutes. For the dudes in the Elimination Chamber, nothing happened, right? Did they even promote LA Knights in that match? Randy Orton's in that match? They didn't do anything for the dudes, I don't believe. Drew McIntyre, I guess. I guess he had a big victory over Cody, and they're trying to make you see Drew as I guess that would be the Elimination Chamber build for the dudes. Drew. And then the only other match is Judgment Day in Bate and Dunn, the Micro Machine tag team. And no talk of that at all last night, I don't believe. Maybe they mentioned it in the 8-man tag. That's what I mean, guys. When I talk Elimination Chamber, there was there even mention of it? I don't even know. And then WrestleMania implications, I guess just Jimmy and Jey. That's it. Cody and Roman, nothing with them last night. No build, no story development, nothing added on, nothing. Drew just beats Cody. And then it looks like, I guess they're building the Seth and Cody relationship more than anything. Like most of us care about that. Other than that, guys, that's it. Michael Chandler is calling out Conor McGregor, which has nothing to do with WWE other than it's owned by the same parent company, Endeavor. That's all I got for you right now, man. I'm going to go get some more coffee. I'm going to down this one. Salute to every single one of you guys. I'm going to down this, go get some fresh coffees at the local Dunkin', and then until next time, and there will be that next time, we gonna get amplified all again. Top guys, we're out. BC saying check you. Peace. Deuces, Zeus's.